So it is 7 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, holding council chambers at 216 Main Street, Swan River, Manitoba, this 9th day of December 2025 at 7 p.m. Present this evening, Reeve Gade, Councillors Zbirun, Kushniryk, McGregor, Blosha, Neely, and Burick. CEO Kristi Ronnquist is with us. Our videographer Jeremy Bergen is here. And we've got some folks joining us in the gallery, both in person and on the telephone tonight. Seeing that council is all here, we'll jump into the agenda at number 2. Be it resolved, the agenda for the regular meeting of council held this 9th day of December 2025 shall be adopted as presented. Does someone wish to move it? Councillor Burick, and I also see Councillor McGregor. Any additions or changes to the agenda anyone wishes to propose tonight? Hearing none, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That is carried. To number 3 we go. Be it resolved, the minutes of the regular meeting of council held November 12th, 2025 shall be adopted as presented. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Neely, and I see Councillor Blosha for a second. Copy of the minutes are attached to the agenda. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? Does anyone need more time? Were there any errors or omissions found in the minutes tonight? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That too is carried. We had originally planned to have the lead hand here tonight. Unfortunately, he called in sick earlier today. He was sick yesterday. So we elected not to bring him tonight for the report because we thought maybe the rest of us might stay slightly healthier. I can share that we have one grader yesterday, Tuesday, I think it was Monday, the 870 in Durban. The hydraulic pump has developed an issue, so they've been working on that today. They had someone out and have found the pump needs repair, so they're currently getting a refurbished pump for that. Otherwise, the rest of the fleet should be ready to plow snow tomorrow, depending on how much we get tonight. But that one will sit it out and we'll be using the spare grader in its place. We have more public works stuff to discuss later when we get to budgeting. He has sent a bit of a wish list that we'll take a look at later in the meeting for some of what public works thinks we should look at for next year's purchases. We'll head down to financial items tonight. Agenda spot 8.1, General Cheques. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. General Cheques number 20934 to 21007 in the amount of $408,929.30, and pre-authorized debits number 2025-042 to 2025-045 the amount of $9,219.65, for a grand total of $418,148.95. Someone wish to move the resolution? Councillor Neely. I see Councillor Kushniryk as a second. I have the checks and I believe most of the invoices here tonight. Who has questions about them? Councillor Blosha.
20943.
Start the thought, work your way down. No.
20943, Tobacco Services, $4,474. This is loading 2,010 yards of gravel for August, September, and October at Cane Pit.
Okay.
If I remember right, some of the vendors are on here twice, is it?
Yeah.
So there is a couple batches of checks here tonight. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 23rd. And we were a little pragmatic in the office that at some point tonight you might all say we're not coming on the 23rd. So we prepared those checks early in case you feel that way. So they're in this batch ahead of time, so we're not saying, but you have to be here on the 23rd. Although, it's not the 24th, so I'm sure we can still make the 23rd. But that's why you see some things, two different batches, because there's the early checks that need to go now and the second batch of checks that we can actually hold for a couple of weeks before we mail them out.
My second question, if the guys in town, they fill up at Dokes,
Yes.
and that's paid through the AMM,
Yes.
and the Durban fuel is supplied by the co-op, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just so I know, I thought that's all it was.
Okay, I got one more.
Okay.
20978, and it would be the 4794.
978. 4794, clutch repairs and motor mounts, that is for the semi. There's a related invoice to Formal Motors for the actual parts. The invoice here says replace clutch, rear seal, rear main structure gasket, flywheel, cross shafts and bushings, input shafts and gaskets. 32 hours work, 140 an hour, 44.80 plus shop supplies, and an extension spring for $11.50. Who else has questions?
And so the formal motors bill goes with that.
Yes, because that's the labor. The former motors is all the parts except for that one spring.
Ouch.
Yes.
$10,000 repair job.
Ouch.
Clutch repair. Okay, what's the other one for then?
Well, the
For
parts.
the clutch itself.
No, but there's one, 2981.
Yeah,
That's the parts.
Foremost, that's the clutch.
And what was the other one?
The other
was
one's
labor?
getting, the guy that fixed it.
And the other one is labor to put it in,
That's why I asked.
So it's a 10,000,
plus some other.
9,000, over 9,000 bucks.
Yeah, 10 grand.
And also on that formal invoice are the Webasto heaters that we've installed in the graders because we're leaving the two outside. So that's the compromise we've come up with. To part of the
Outside or
quote.
in the cold storage?
In the cold storage.
Yeah.
And so we've agreed, we've installed the heaters ourselves, from what I understand. And then we'll preheat the graders a couple hours before we want them. And not
Yeah,
inside the
you can
building.
set the timer and
Put 'em on
one
and
more
everybody-
question.
Sure.
One more question. Wait, are you
Oh,
asking
no.
a question? Go ahead,
Oh.
Russ.
I was just wondering, if we put them on the Durban graders too, but it looks like.
It looks like we did, yes.
It's on all of them,
4 of them.
4.
just in case the graders get moved around.
I guess.
Okay. Seahawk, is that for Bonito Fire?
It is, it's 4 pails of foam.
Okay, just checking.
Anything else? Hearing nothing else, we'll call the question on the resolution. Those in favor? That's carried. Continuing on with financial items tonight, we'll move to 8.2 payroll checks. Be resolved that the council of the municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. Payroll payments number 1024 to 1039, the amount of $26,807.16. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Burick, who would like to second? Councillor Blosha. Copy of the payroll checks are attached in the private view of the meeting. Is there any discussion on those, concerns, questions, anything you want to bring up? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question on the resolution. Those in favor? That's carried. 8.3, indemnities. Be resolved that the council of the municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments, indemnities for November, number 4747 to 4755, the amount of $11,172.09. Does someone wish to move the resolution? Councillor Neely, and I see Councillor McGregor there as well for the second. Copy of the indemnities are attached to the agenda tonight. Does anyone have discussion, questions, concerns? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question on the resolution. Those in favor? That's carried. Bank reconciliation isn't there. 8.5, financial transfers. These relate to the budget that we have for 2025 to give authorization to staff to do the transferring. Be resolved, the following transfers between accounts be made in accordance with the 2025 budget. From emergency reserve to general fund, $50,000 for address signs. From paved road reserve to general fund, $50,000 for pavement repairs. From general fund to rural machinery reserve, $250,000. From general fund to emergency equipment reserve, $10,000. From general fund to paved road reserve, $5,000. From general fund to general reserve Benito, $18,500. Someone wish to move the resolution? Councillor Kushniryk, who would like to second? Councillor Zbirun. Questions, comments, discussion? All right. Hearing nothing, we'll call the question on the resolution. Those in favor? That is carried. To section 9 we go. 9.1, Animal Control Report November. Be it resolved, the Urban Animal Control Report for November 2025 be received and approved for payment. Someone wish to move the resolution? Councillor Neely and Councillor Kushniryk. A copy of the animal report is attached. The 19th of November, traps were set in response to a complaint of cats frequenting the residence, spraying, clawing, scratching the owner's property. On November 21st and 23rd, reset traps with bait. 4 cats were captured. Cats were not claimed or were rehomed. On the 25th of November, responded to a call about a white dog on Main Street getting into garbage cans. Drove around but unable to locate the dog. Discussion. Hearing nothing, we'll call the question. Those in favor? 9.2, Rural Animal Control and Bylaw for November. Be it resolved, the Rural Animal Control and Bylaw Report for November 2025 be received and approved for payment. Who would like to move the resolution? Councillor Blosha. Who would like to second? It's going to be Councillor McGregor. That report is also attached. It says no calls. Any discussion?
That's the first.
Isn't it nice sometimes? Like just once in a while for it to be calm. Call the question on the resolution. Those in favor? That's carried. 9.3, the emergency plan. I guess we'll start with the resolution. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West do hereby approve the 2026 emergency plan as amended, and be it further resolved the CAO is authorized to submit the approved 2026 emergency plan to the office of the EMO Manitoba. Does someone wish to move the resolution? Councillor Blosha. Who would like to second? Councillor Neely. A copy of that plan is attached in the private view. It's it's only 12 pages here. The actual binder has 100 pages of stuff in it, so there's more than this. Staff have been through this. I've reviewed it as well. We've picked out some things that were old and updated new stuff. We are required to submit this to the province before the end of the year to prove that we have updated the emergency plan. So that's why it's coming to council tonight. It can be updated later on too, so if you see something here that should change or partway through the year, staff can make those changes, but then at the end of the year we submit it as the final plan for the next year.
I found one that's in here. The fellow passed away about a year and a half ago.
That should probably get changed. If you could note that to the CAO later on, we'll get that taken care of, and we'll probably, this isn't submitted yet, so we'll probably just make that change before it goes, just so it's done. Did everybody else have a chance to review through it? Is there anything else you want to ask about it or change? Okay. Hearing nothing else, we'll call the question on the resolution. Those in favor? Was carried. And we get to the fun stuff. 9.4, committee appointments. So we have here the list of committee appointments. Typically we review this at the beginning of the year, but we're here to discuss a few things early. So as you know, we still need to make a change to the Northwest Regional Library. There was a discussion we were having last time about the Swan Lake Watershed appointment, and we also have a request for the Benito Recreation Center. For the library, I'm not aware of anyone having been recommended yet. Did anyone come up with recommendations for that? Okay. For the Watershed District, do you wish to have that discussion here, or does that need to go back in camera? Last time you put it in camera for some of the concerns you had.
There was some discussion. I don't think so.
Okay, so what I need to know is what do you want to do about the watershed appointment?
I understand that James Brown wants to stay.
And he was doing his jobs.
Yeah, so let's just leave everything the way it is, I guess, unless somebody else. Terry's on there and Byron's on there. You guys want to stay for another year? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it the same, I guess.
Okay, so is it the will of council to leave watershed the same, or do you want to make changes? You guys get paid the big bucks to answer the questions.
Absolutely. No, I'd say leave it for its last year.
Okay. So watershed, even though there's an election, changes at the end
Right.
of next year, right?
Right.
So
January.
it'll be the whole year is the same, and then it gets refreshed again. Okay, there was a request from the Benito Recreation Center. I was at the last board meeting. They had an extensive conversation about their committee appointment, and they were wondering if they could have a change. They asked specifically for Councillor Burick.
What? Excuse me, pardon me?
That was the request of the committee. You want to take that in camera, or you want to leave it here for a while?
No, I mean, it's an honor to be asked, I guess, but I mean,
I can tell you the reasons, but you probably don't want them in camera, or in open. It gets to be a personnel matter.
yeah. Maybe leave it in camera.
Okay, so if we're going to do that, let's leave 9.4, and we'll have some discussion about that. What I can share in the public part of the meeting is that the board of the Recreation Center asked that I express their disappointment in council. They felt that they had been wrongly accused at the previous council meeting and had some strong concerns with some of the language used at the table describing the operations of the Bureau Recreation Center. So I could probably give some more details of that later on, but that was what they wanted to express to the group tonight.
I just have to reply to them tomorrow. If
Okay,
you're okay
well, we'll
with
come
that
back to this.
later on.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll put the rest of that in camera then? Okay, let's go to 9.5. So this is called Budget 2026. This is looking at an interim operating budget. So I'll read the resolution. This is identical to last year's resolution, but we can make changes once it's read. Whereas Section 163 of the Municipal Act provides that a council may adopt an interim operating budget to have effect only until the council adopts the operating budget for the fiscal year. Therefore, be it resolved that an interim operating budget for the municipality, including all rural, urban, and at-large expenditures, shall be hereby adopted for the year 2026 as follows. Government services, $300,000. Protective services, $100,000. Transportation services, $500,000. Environmental services, $100,000. Public health services, $50,000. Environmental development, $50,000. Economic development, $50,000. Recreation and cultural services, $200,000. Capital asset purchases, fiscal services, $300,000. Utility, $100,000. Is there a mover for the resolution? Councillor Neely. Who would like to second the resolution? Councillor McGregor. So we do this every year because unless we have our budget passed by the 1st of January, we must provide that we can actually write checks come January. This is an interim budget. We're certainly not committed to any of these amounts. It's the maximum we could spend, but it doesn't change the fact that everything comes back to council for approval. And ultimately, whatever we pass for a budget by the 15th of May is the actual budget for the year, and these numbers go away. Does anyone have concerns, or do they want changes with any of these numbers?
Just recreation and cultural services, 200,000. What all was that?
I can't imagine we could get that high. That would include things like the insurance for the rink, which doesn't come due until, I think it's due in April, so we might use it for that. It would include the cemeteries and such that we typically don't pay out until September or October.
I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's just,
If you want, we can lower it down.
No.
It's not an issue. This is just, we just copied and pasted from a year ago, so we had the same numbers to start with.
that's fine.
Anybody else? Hearing nothing more, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. 9.6, OSS renewal. We have had a one-year contract with OSS as recommended by the province of Manitoba. OSS has come to us and has suggested that we sign either a 5-year or 10-year contract to get better rates. Those contracts provide for set increases. So on a 10-year contract, we would see a fixed increase of 3.5%. On a 5-year contract, a fixed increase of 5.5%. The province has asked that any contract we enter into has the option to terminate when the province finally does producer pay for the material. OSS assured us that clause would be included. We've also included here the rates that we've paid the last 2 years. So when we started recycling in 2020 and 2021 under our contract, we paid $69 each time we emptied a bin. In 2022, we paid $74.90, which was an 8.2% increase. In 2023, it went up 15.51% to $87.50. 2024 had an 8.53% increase to $95.30. And 2025, a 7.085% increase to $102.30. That's what we're paying now. which is a lot more than 69. There's also the third attachment here, shows that if we do a 1-year extension to our contract, we would be paying $110.88 per empty as of the start of the year. If we take a 3-year extension, we'd be paying $109.32. 5-year, we'd be paying $107.82. So the question to council tonight is, what do you wish to do? You have the option of no more recycling, of extending for a year, of extending for 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. Thoughts? The last update we can provide from the province is that they're still thinking it will be a year or 2 before producer pay will be in effect for a municipality. Once that happens, the province will be forcing somebody else to pay the recycling bill. So we would no longer pay for recycling. You'll recall a year ago, they said it would be a year or 2. The year before that, they also said it would be a year or 2. So certainly the timeline keeps dragging on from them to get it done. I just don't know when they'll finally get to it.
I say
Well, realistically, recycle isn't going anywhere in the next 10 years. Nothing's only going up by 3.5%, that's pretty low. And if we have the clause to exit, I would say it makes sense. It seems like a long time, but
You know, even 5.5 is good compared to what it's been the last 4 years. The lowest it's gone up to 7.085 in the last 4 years. Like you said, Brad, 10 years is a long time.
it's a long time, but even just based on saving the landfills, do we see any reason we would ever exit the recycle? I don't know. Until the province takes over.
Ideally, when the province takes over, we would be doing a lot more recycling. Because the more we can divert from the landfill, the longer the landfill lasts. Right now, the recycling is so expensive that diverting from the landfill costs about, well, more than putting it in the landfill. But once somebody else is paying for it, like they should, it would be to our advantage to divert as much as we possibly can to extend the life. So I have a suggestion over here for 10 years. What do other people think?
I guess for 2% a year, you know, over the 5-year program, right? It's definitely the better deal.
Yeah, I just, you know, and really 10 years seems long, but to me the real question is, do we think by the end of the next council term they'll get rid of recycle? I can't see it. That's 5 years basically.
And you're right, 3.5% is reasonable increase per year.
Now, there's still fuel surcharge on top of that.
Yeah,
Diesel right
well,
now has gotten pretty cheap, but if diesel goes up again, we'll see
That's
increases
beyond
from
our
that.
control, right?
That's right.
I'm okay with it, I guess.
Okay, I'll bring,
What's the OSS general increase here?
that's where they just charge more because they can.
But that won't be in the new.
That's where it's hard coded to that 3.5 or 5.5%.
Is OSS still anything going?
Probably. There isn't anybody else serving anybody within a very long way of here.
See OSS everywhere.
They're out of Dauphin,
In Yorkton.
Turkey.
out of OSS.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
go both ways. They've
Yeah.
got a hub in Dauphin and one in Yorkton.
Oh,
I think home is Yorkton though.
I think so. Certainly if you get a lot further south, there's other options. But in most areas, there's going to be just one option per area, as they've kind of divvied up their territory and bought each other out.
what do you guys think?
Well, if you guys think 10, 10 and 10, it's fine with that.
Okay, so let's try a resolution. Be it resolved, the municipality of Swan Valley West enter into a 10-year agreement with OSS for recycling services subject to a clause that the contract may be cancelled with 90 days' notice of changes from the province of Manitoba. Does that suit the council?
Is that good, Brad?
Does someone wish to move a resolution like that?
Yeah, what the heck?
We did all the yakking, I guess.
Councillor Neely, second. Any further discussion? Does anyone want to propose any changes before we vote? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question. Those in favor? Was carried. 9.7, gravel tender. This is information. I believe, from what I understand from council in the past, we want to firm it up for direction to staff. We are re-tendering for gravel hauling for 2026. Does that sound about right? We're not extending. I don't believe the 2025 tender allowed extension anyway, but I just want to make sure we're all good that we're re-tendering. Our hope is to send that out in the next week or two so we have those numbers back in January and we can make some decisions.
Just the hauling one.
Just the hauling. That's good with everybody? Okay. I can also advise that Mr. Campbell contacted the office today that he is now crushing in the Birch River pit. He invites any members of council who want to go look at the gravel, to go see it, to make sure you like it. He is crushing 20,000 yards there for use in the north part of the municipality in the spring program.
Good.
That was good, it was as
Good.
good as the other stuff.
Yep.
It was very, very nice last year.
Yes.
9.8, Manitoba Good Roads Association. The Good Roads Association has announced the district winners this year for Class 1, Best Maintained System of Rural Municipal Roads in District 5, the Armtech Shield. The Municipality of Swan Valley West is the winner. In Class 2, Most Improved Municipal Roads, District 5, the High Track Shield. The Municipality of Swan Valley West is the winner. We have been invited to attend the awards ceremony. That happens in April in conjunction with the Association of Manitoba Municipalities Conference. Anyone that's at AMM can attend. It's likely that Kristi and I will be accepting the award on our behalf. The provincial winners have not been announced yet. Of the different districts, one winner is selected as the provincial winner at the end of the day.
Oh, one of the 5 is a provincial winner then.
But just to be honored as District 5, that's a fairly large area. And certainly,
Everything in the north or what?
I couldn't find the district map. But when you look at the others, like Harrison Park is Westman, Deloraine is really southern Portage, and then St. Andrews is over far. So this has got to be parkland plus
Yeah,
the north.
not many roads in the east now.
No, but it's kind of nice to have some recognition for the roads actually getting better.
That was years ago, I'm saying, not lately, but years ago. Manitoba Good Roads came to do the inspection. They got stuck on our roads. They got
How'd we
stuck.
score?
Had so much rain, and just before the graveling was, do you remember that, Terry? Or no,
No, I don't. Did we get an award that year?
No, yeah.
So,
They got stuck. Well, they got stuck kind of. Yeah.
all right, moving on. 9.9, from the ground up. Grant applications have been opened from the Manitoba government for From the Ground Up. They're due on January 22nd, maybe, early in the 20s of January. Last year we received funding for the Benito Splash Park. We have certainly been talking to a group of pickleballers about doing some pickleball stuff. They're likely to be submitting an application that will be supporting, at least in principle, some letters and such. But we wanted to, first of all, remind you that any of the groups you're working with on the boards or committees, that grant is open and they can be applying for it if they do it before mid-January. But also ask if you wanted Swan Valley West to be applying for anything directly. And if so, what? We have to know, obviously, by very early in January. We don't have to know tonight, but if you have ideas, you could throw them out already.
This grant covers what? What items? Like what?
Recreational and community services.
New builds,
Yeah, capital
has to
capital
be,
work.
yeah.
Okay.
Parks.
Basically recreation.
Like it says, from the ground up.
It also, in the past, has covered the planning district for writing the new development plan. That was funded under this.
Oh,
That stuff isn't always funded, but certainly for planning districts, it often is. It doesn't always have to be, like shovel in the ground stuff necessarily. It can be some other things. There's a list of what's available. Mostly for what we do, it's capital works or something for community recreation. I've seen it be roofs before. I certainly suggest that the rink should be applying. They want to change some doors, put an application in. If you get 50% funding for something,
We need a rink.
yeah. I'll leave that with council, but if you are thinking of something sooner rather than later, please tell staff so that we can prepare an application. 9:10, Kane's Pit renewal. As you know, our gravel contract with Kane's Pit expires at the end of this year. It contained a clause that allowed for a 10-year renewal. They exercised an option to not renew the contract. A few things they wanted to see changed in the contract. They and we found it confusing how it said it was 2% increase per year because there was no schedule of the actual amounts. And that seemed to cause grief in how to do the rounding each year of whether it went up by 1 cent or half a cent or not a cent. So in the new agreement, it provides for the actual amount per year, so it's clearly stated. The agreement is only for 5 years instead of 10, can be renewed again, but probably would be redone with new amounts. There's also a change here. At one point, the agreement only allowed JTL backhoe services in Swan Valley West to remove aggregate from that pit. The vendor indicated they don't intend to have other people using the pit, but there was an incident during the 10-year contract where Swan Valley West had grave concerns that some other truck was seen in the pit that was actually hauling for the other person that was authorized to use the facility. And that created some sort of turf war, and they want to not have that happen again. So they wanted that clause removed to ensure that there wouldn't be some bad blood later on. Otherwise, this remains much the same.
So is Jay still gonna be using the pit?
Jay can still use the
like
pit,
always?
but they can let somebody else, or someone Jay has hired, they have that freedom of allowing somebody else into the pit if they want. It does require that we purchase 10,000 yards a year. That's the same as the old contract. There's a clause that if we use more than the minimum yardage in any 1 year, the surplus yards can be applied to later years. At the moment, we're typically using between 20 and 30,000 yards a year there. So under this agreement, within the first couple of years, we would have met the minimum for the whole agreement.
Yeah.
There is some cancellation clauses that if the pit is no longer good or runs out of gravel, it can be canceled. However, if we leave just because we feel like leaving, there's a $5,000 cancellation fee payable. We have spoken to the vendor. They indicate they're fine with this agreement. We typed it, so we sent it to them first to make sure they were good with it. They say it's fine. So we're looking for council's direction tonight if we wish to authorize this agreement.
Well,
I'm fine with it.
I think we better.
Yeah,
It's one of our main pits, right?
it's good pit too.
It's not my area, but, right?
It's a good
You
pit,
can get gravel.
good gravel.
Right?
Yep.
Good location,
Yep.
it's all good.
There's enough gravel there, there's no chance of running out, eh?
I don't think not for the next
Like
little while.
5 years?
Hopefully not. I guess it depends how much we use, but it looks like it's still pretty good. So resolution be resolved that the agreement for access to the King gravel pit for 2026 to 2023 be approved as presented. Be it further resolved that the Reeve and CAO be authorized to sign the contract on the municipality's behalf.
Did you say 2023 or 2028?
2026 to 2030. That's what I wrote, just not what I read.
Yeah.
Does someone wish to move the resolution? Councillor Neely, does someone wish to second? Councillor Zbirun. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. 9:11, utility bylaw. Questions have arisen on interpretation of the bylaw, so here we are to ask for interpretation. Village of Manitoba bylaw number 0213. This is still the utility bylaw in effect until the Public Utilities Board approves the new one, which is still pending. Under this bylaw, if we go down quite a ways, we find under section 2, All pipes and valves inside the premises shall be kept in good repair by the owner or occupant. Any damage through neglect or otherwise by a contractor for the owner or occupant to water service pipes in the street to the premises, including the meter, shall be the responsibility of the owner or occupant. Attached is a picture of a sewer line that 50 feet from the entrance to the sewer line is blocked. It looks like the sewer line is collapsed. There is also a bill for working on that sewer line. At the moment, sewage is again moving, but from the look of the picture attached, that is a temporary solution.
Not very fast.
Not very fast. Initially, we thought, the collective knowledge, this is the homeowner's problem because it's not in our sewer line, it's between the house and the road. That bylaw does not say that. It says you're only responsible for what's inside the house, unless a contractor of yours does something negligent. No contractor was involved in negligence here. So we want to run by council if you agree that the bylaw says we have to fix this without charge to the homeowner. Which will be this bill plus whatever it's gonna cost to dig up that sewer line in the spring and fix it.
Well, it's gotta be fixed.
It does have to be fixed,
It's gotta be fixed, we gotta fix this too, for future. People could buy insurance for that now, I believe. I don't live in town, but I mean,
and certainly our belief, and we've said it many times here, after the curb stop is the homeowner's problem. That is not what that bylaw says. When we went and dug it up to make sure of what it said,
yeah,
it's
inside
simply not
the
how it's written.
premises.
Yeah, it's only inside the house. Okay. Does anyone want to make an argument that's not what it says and we should do something different? All right,
Oh, yeah, we got no legs to stand on here.
that's good. That's the way we see it too, but I wanted to bring it here so we make sure that we all agree on that together. That's what it says.
I'm just looking at this whole bylaw, maybe some of the fines should be increased a little over the last 12 years.
We have submitted the new bylaw already, which we have a copy of tonight.
Oh,
And there was some changes in it, I can't recall
Okay.
what it was. We submitted that with the water rate study, and certainly the noises they made is we're expecting approval any day, because they were asking things for what the water rates would be starting January 1st. So they need to get on with approving it if it's going to take effect for them, but we'll see what happens. Let's go to 912, Fire Prevention Bylaw. This is another case of collective knowledge of what we think it says may not be what it actually says. Prevailing wisdom has been that the bylaw does not require a burning permit for any reason between November 15th and April 1st. That is not what the bylaw says. It actually says that brush pile burning does not require a permit between November 15th and April 1st. All other things do require a permit. The fine amounts are also illegal. You cannot fine $1,428. The maximum fine is $1,000. So the question to council and the recommendation from staff is that burning permits always be required. And we take out the clause that exempts certain times of year. We saw this last year with the fire in the Benito Alpine area that got out of hand, and they said, well, the bylaw doesn't apply because it's after the 15th of November, and didn't do fire guarding as a result. So the question is, do you mind if we present a bylaw that says you always need a permit?
it used to be like that. Back about a council and a half ago.
This was last changed September 2018. When this was passed.
All right.
We would also correct at the same time the fine provisions to comply with the municipal fines rules, which is a maximum of $1,000. Does anyone have changes they would like to see made to how the fines work? Right now, essentially, if you have a burning permit or don't have a permit and your fire gets away, you're fined. Is that still what the group wants?
What other way would we do it?
No, that's a good, best way.
I mean, if you have a permit, so that's so that the fire
Get a
department is aware, right? The fire
Yes.
department is aware that you're gonna be doing some burning in this 7-day period or whatever. If you don't have a permit, you got a problem if it gets away. I mean, it's like anything else, right? You're good unless you get caught.
Why do we wanna give a 30% discount if they pay within 30 days? Shouldn't it be added penalty if they don't?
I would suggest that should come out.
Yeah, that should.
What was that, Brad?
There's a clause here that gives a 30% reduction if you pay within 30 days. Instead of just having the fine be the
Yeah,
fine.
just get rid of it.
Fine's a fine, where else do you get a cut like that when they get a fine?
Yeah, I would change it to a 30% penalty if you don't pay within 30 days.
Yeah.
Now, I note, just because I'm here to remind you, this is a bylaw that council has struggled with greatly over the past 7 years or so. Each and every time that an incident comes up where a fine likely should be issued, council historically has seen their way to waive the fine anyway. So are you sure you really want to do this? Because when we pass a new bylaw, it's one thing to say a bylaw passed a couple councils ago, we don't always follow to the letter of the law, but we're passing a new one when we do this. We should really follow it if that's what we write down. Are you going to support that when the fines happen? So the fine is actually written and sent to somebody instead of saying, oh, well, but in this case, we shouldn't. I kind of prefer the rules say what you actually want.
I just have a question, if somebody's burning, okay, let's say that we have this in place that you have to have a permit. Somebody doesn't get a permit, gets away, the fire department has to go out there. Who pays that? The landowner or the fire's insurance company or what?
There is no charge for the fire department, even though you didn't do it right.
Well, I mean like a house fire or something, you know.
No. If you're a resident of Swan Valley West, you are covered by fire protection as part of your taxes.
Even.
Which basically is like fire insurance, right? Fire department insurance. We will come no matter what and put your fire out.
No, I know,
Not
but I
send you a
mean,
bill.
sometimes we have to charge, other municipalities. I just wondered if they didn't, if they're supposed to have a permit and don't get a permit, who
And
pays?
that's the thought of the fine. You know, this was written that you have to pay the cost of fire suppression or $1,428. But under the provincial law, we cannot fine more than $1,000 a day for one specific occurrence.
Oh.
So the most we could fine you is $1,000 for anything you do wrong. Even if that fire costs $10,000 to put out, we can only fine you $1,000. And if you had a permit, and it still costs $10,000 to put it out,
Yeah.
there's no fine. Unless, if you had a permit and you didn't burn guard, then you'd still, the permit's not valid unless you guard your fire. So the theory would be, you still could be fined even with a permit if you didn't pay attention.
And what about if we lowered the fine to $500 and stick by our guns,
We could do that.
rather than $1,000 and let it go?
We could say it's the $500 the first time and $1,000 the second
Yeah,
time.
that's a good
If
idea.
that's what you'd like to do. We have the power to make it say anything, but we need to know what to make
But I
it
mean,
say.
it's easier for somebody to pay that 500 than it is 1,000, right? I mean, so
And to be fair,
there may be more desire by council
to be fair,
to
a lot
push
of
for the
times-
$500 rather than the 1,000, feeling sorry for the person or whatever.
Well, and a lot of times when it's come to council, where there's been a violation, it has cost that person substantial amounts of money personally for
Yeah.
uninsured loss of property
Yeah.
that was consumed by the fire, and that's why council gets feeling like, wow, gee, do we really want to tack on to their problems and charge them more if they've already lost $20,000 of something from the fire they caused themselves?
I mean, nobody, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but 99.9% of the people don't start a fire thinking that it's gonna damage their property or somebody else's property.
Okay, so is the group thinking 500 first offense, 1,000 second offense, and thereafter? Okay, no more discounts, burning permit required all the time? Everybody's fine with
Yeah,
that?
burning permit all the time.
We will make the notes, that
And
will
this
come
takes
back.
effect when,
Not until we bring a bylaw here.
right,
Yeah, so it'll be
into the
sometime,
new year.
it'll be New Year for sure.
Better burn my brush pile.
Just get a permit.
It's after November.
Yes, fine.
No, wait till after. Terry,
I'll pay you the $500.
Terry, wait until the bylaws pass and the fine is cheaper.
If you really
Well,
want
that's
to.
right.
If you wanna have some fun, wait till the fire department's on another call, then light something up there. They love that. 913, Swan Valley Veterinary Services District Financial Statement for 2024. This is the audited financial statements. It came to council, so it's presented here, so you can have a copy of it. Does anyone from Vet Board want to speak about this at all? It's pretty self-explanatory, it's just information tonight.
Straightforward.
914, Landfill Office. Now, you may remember, a bit of a storyteller sometimes, a time when the landfill had an office that was insulated, had a wood heat, door, window, quite a nice office. And what it was missing was about half the siding. And then it came to pass that Public Works said, we should put the rest of the siding on that building. And it came to pass that Public Works took the half of the siding off that was already on there so they could put siding that was the same color on the entire building. And then it came to pass that when they took the siding off, they found mold upon the building. And they said, but it is just a little mold, so we'll remove just a little bit of the OSB on the outside of the building and fix that. And it came to pass that when they removed a little bit of OSB, they found more mold. And they kept removing little bit by little bit until we no longer have a landfill office. What we have is some studs where there used to be a landfill office. So we're without a landfill office. And the landfill attendant is cold. At the moment, he's sitting in his personal vehicle trying to keep warm when he works at a landfill, which is not in compliance with our requirements for providing a safe workplace for someone. We talked last meeting about what to do about this. We have sought local quotes for this. We certainly have not seen any written quotes yet. We have said some verbal local quotes for around $16,000 for a landfill office. Tonight presented to council from Uncle Wiener's is a 20 by 10 insulated office container. The full amount is $8,499.45, including delivery to the landfill. This is pre-insulated with a door and windows. It's a metal container, so it can't be set fire like the last time we had a landfill office that was quite nice and someone burned to the ground. It is not yet wired for electricity. That would need to be done. The idea, temporarily at least, would be to put a small diesel heater in it that was hooked to a battery with a generator and charge the battery once in a while to keep the heater going. Pictures of this proposed landfill office are attached. Looks quite nice as far as metal containers at landfills go. And we're wondering about council's direction for how to proceed. Councillor Blosha.
Buy
What
it.
size did you say it was?
10 by 20.
10 by 20.
Is it 10 or 8?
10.
Claims to be 10.
Containers are usually not that wide, but, yeah, well, that's plenty big enough, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think it would be nice, and certainly
The other one was 4 by
And,
6, wasn't
and
it?
they're gonna deliver it.
Yes, the delivery is $750, that price.
Yeah, well, I know, they're gonna deliver it there for that price. You
Drop
can't
her
build
off,
for that.
level it, and carry on with life. You can't build much for 8,000 with lumber nowadays.
Is it wired up, do you think, or
No,
not?
No.
it's
No
not.
wire?
You can do external wiring on it. You know. All it needs is lights and a heater.
Solar.
And a plug-in for the TV.
Solar light. Put Starlink, connect Starlink.
And one complicating thing is they will not take a municipal check. So the resolution, be it resolved that council approve the purchase of the proposed landfill office for the Gade landfill, and be it further resolved that council approves an e-transfer payment of the full amount to the vendor. Who would like to make the resolution? Councillor Blosha, who would like to second? Councillor McGregor. Any further discussion? Those in favor? That's carried.
Just why won't they take a municipal check? Well,
They
don't
just
take
don't
checks
take
there.
checks at all.
They don't take checks there at all.
Not from anybody for any reason.
Okay.
They would take a bank draft, but we would have to drive it to York
They take your credit card too.
for a 3% charge.
Yeah.
So it was cheaper to do an e-transfer.
I didn't know that,
We did discuss just moments before the meeting, someone suggested we should be doing something for the landfill attendant preferring to run his personal vehicle, so we will do that. Make sure we pay the gas bill for what he's used there. Even though he may have been complicit in seeing the mold and taking just a little more, and just a little more, and just a little more.
Burn it.
9:15, this came out from the province earlier today. Now 3 versions of it came out. This is the final version with the correct date. So next week, on Tuesday, the 16th of December, from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m., Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure will be seeking the public's input on their detailed design for the PTH 10 and 83 intersection, which is the roundabout in Swan River. That will be at the Veterans Hall. It's a come and go, so you can come and go anytime you want and share your views on it. I received a phone call earlier today from another municipality asking for our views on it. I expressed to them council's view that we weren't too thrilled about the idea of a roundabout. We discussed for a while if we should take any action other than just saying at the meeting we're not too thrilled. Do you wish to present a resolution tonight saying that we do not want a roundabout there, or do you want to just leave it be?
I think you're wrong.
I think put a resolution forward that just said Swan Valley West is,
Opposed?
well, yeah, just, what do you think Swan Valley West is? A farming community. Most of the farming community is opposed to it, I believe,
That's,
from what
I
I've heard.
have not found anyone that thinks it's a great idea.
So
I,
to support it, that's what we
I
should be
don't,
doing.
I don't know why they can't just put a turning lane in each way.
So what I understand of that is they presented to the town 2 options, the turning lane or the roundabout. But the turning lane came with a concrete barrier along the road that came back several businesses in each direction.
So you couldn't get
So
into
so
that
you couldn't get
business
into the
from that
businesses.
side.
Quick Stop, McDonald's, Subway were all going to be impacted by this. So you would have to drive through the intersection, pull a U-turn on the boulevard, come back to drive into those businesses. So at the time, which was a previous council, the town said they would prefer the roundabout. But politics have certainly been at play the last couple months. So we had a meeting, Kristi and I, with MTI to review their proposal. Before the meeting, I received a telephone call from the mayor. The mayor asked us to oppose the roundabout. He said the town did not want a roundabout, and he wanted us to do whatever we could to stop it from happening. When we got into the meeting, the first slide presented said the town of Swan River had asked for a roundabout. And I said, stop. Your slide's wrong. That can't be true. They clearly don't want a roundabout. The mayor just called and told me that. And they said, oh no, Reeve, Gade. They absolutely want a roundabout. They even passed a resolution saying they want one. So I texted the mayor from the meeting and said, Mr. Mayor, what is this? They must be wrong. And he said, well, no, it's really complicated. He did also request other municipalities oppose the roundabout. His own municipality, on the other hand, has passed a resolution supporting the roundabout.
it doesn't make sense.
Does it ever?
MPI likely won't want it.
Yeah, have you seen a plan?
They showed us
They make
pictures of it.
videos.
They made really nice videos. They show that a 53-foot Super B can traverse the roundabout perfectly fine as long as the driver has 0 error in his turn. But if he's off by a foot either way, he no longer fits in the roundabout. But as long as he is perfect, he can do it. They also showed us pictures of a tractor going through the roundabout, and the tractor went through it fine. And I said, and where is the air seeder? And they said, what do you mean? That's what most tractors here have air seeders attached that are bigger than the tractor. They said, what's an air seeder?
Yeah, I think we better pass a resolution.
Why would
But I
they need
I
a,
was just gonna say though, like, I could see it maybe planned if that McDonald's before they came. But McDonald's, their driveway is right on the highway almost, like how can you make a turnaround with?
In the functional plan I've seen, they make a second driveway to McDonald's to the north.
The north?
But if you're coming from downtown Swan River and wish to go get a Big Mac, you drive through the roundabout and go in a big circle and come back and get into McDonald's. If you're in McDonald's and wish to go east, you don't. You forced to turn and go the other way. Or go at the north entrance and again through the roundabout and circle around to try to get there.
Because the subway side, you got lots of room there. Hydro's got lots of property and your tourism, lots, but the McDonald's, like I say, they're
I don't
probably
know
not
why
straight
they're
on.
so opposed, why they have to have a median between, if there's a turning, why would they have to have a median there? There's lots of places that don't have that.
There is. They have 3 lanes, except they blocked one off. There'd easily be enough room. My own personal view is a blocking advanced green. So right now the light turns green in both directions, east and west.
Yeah.
A blocking advanced green, one side would stay red, the other side would have a green plus an advanced green. The traffic would go, it would turn red, the other side would go. You see lots of communities with that. It would be
Yeah,
perfectly
yeah.
safe, absolutely would solve the problem, and the total cost would be less than $10,000.
You wouldn't need much going north and south, because they're not
It's fine
near the
there already.
traffic.
No.
Maybe 2 vehicles or 3 sitting on the other side, not 13, you know. Especially at noon hour, it's terrible at that corner.
And 6
And when the
o'clock.
buses are going. They just need a turning lane, I don't know why.
What's their reasoning for not having just a turning lane? Did they say, or did it never, wasn't brought up?
Have you been to Roblin and Russell and seen what their engineers did there?
Rob,
Because where they put all those weird pavement and concrete barriers, someone in Winnipeg thought it was a good idea.
I hate them roundabouts.
Yeah, you never know if you're going the right way.
Imagine the grader man when you got 3 feet of snow. Where does,
Yeah. You have fun cleaning that up.
oh, that'd be something. Trying to. Gee.
It costs a lot more than putting turning lane. Well, the lights, I guess, cost money, but the lights are right now, they just got to upgrade them.
Should have took him for a ride after the meeting, but they should have took him down 275 for a ride, see which is priority.
Well, if we were gonna spend $10 million in a roundabout, I can think of a lot of roads we could put that money into
Yeah,
that would be better spent.
exactly.
275, the bridge at Cowan,
Yeah.
even just the streets in our communities.
Yeah.
Honestly,
road.
Yeah.
The other day I went for that drive, I started to go down the ditch road. I went 2 miles, I said, this, I'm heading north to 216, I went down there, gone. But that 275 is terrible. It's where, oh, I told you before, 216 is a better road.
Okay, so I have a resolution, you may want to make changes. Whereas the mayor of the town of Swan River has requested that Swan Valley West opposes the construction of a roundabout at the intersection of PTH 10 and 83, and whereas numerous residents of Swan Valley West are opposed to the roundabout due to strong concerns about the impact to our community, and whereas council has reviewed the detailed plans and find them misguided and not appropriate for our community, therefore be it resolved that we request the Manitoba government cancel the construction of the proposed intersection improvements and instead work with Swan Valley West to find a better solution.
That's a good resolution, but I can't understand why the mayor encourages us to do that when they do the opposite.
I cannot understand it either.
It's
Like, does it make sense?
politics,
Like,
right?
no, does it make sense? They passed a resolution to support it, and he's telling us to pass a resolution to be against it. Like, something's wrong there.
Does someone wish to move the resolution? Councillor Blosha? Councillor Neely to second. Any changes or further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. Blissfully, that ends our discussion segment tonight. We don't have correspondence and there's not much under unfinished business, so we'll head to committee reports. We will start with Councillor Burick.
Oh, my goodness. Well, before I say anything, I'd just like to thank you and Kristi for the great Christmas banquet that we had. That was excellent. You guys did a good job putting together. Everybody, good meal, good evening. Everybody had a great time. Thank you. It was well done.
You're welcome,
Very-
but it wasn't us. It's mostly the office staff. that does it.
Well, I'm just saying, you and Kristi and office staff, it was a good evening. Really appreciate it. And like I say, everybody had a good time for Christmas banquet. I don't know, I attended one committee meeting, the planning district. The Reeve and I attended it, and there was, we almost didn't have a quorum, but he came in at the last minute. There was Arma Mountain, 2 reps, 1 rep from Minnetonka's Bozeman, the Reeve and myself from Swan Valley West, but nobody showed up from the town. And there was that resolution we had to pass, the change of the bylaw. And we didn't pass it, we decided not to pass it because Minnetonka's wanted to have a meeting with our Reeve to discuss the change, how it would affect things. And I understood the meeting was supposed to happen the next day almost. So when your turn comes to report, you can discuss how the meeting went, if it went at all.
I shall.
Yeah, I don't think it went at all. So anyways, that's one meeting I attended. Just last week, a few of us council members, Reeve, Kristi, we attended that site there where the drainage work was done, so it'll be discussed in camera. And I want to bring up one thing. I brought it up about 3 years ago. Those traffic lights on 83 and 49.
Streetlights.
Streetlights on
Yes.
83 and 49 and 279 and number 10. And first we sent a letter in, and then we sent another letter in, and they were gonna do a study, I believe.
They
We
said
haven't
they
heard
would.
anything from that.
That's the last I heard.
Can we?
So is there any way we can pass a resolution requesting that? Because it was
Just
just
study the light.
the lights. Because you know, like I've mentioned before, 83 and 49, there's nothing, just a stop sign with a red flashing light. You go down 49 to number 9, there's six street lights, well lit. I was I was following a guy while I was coming from Robin, but I caught up to him to the turnoff there at 49. He was going for about half a mile with his left blinker on, he didn't know where to turn. Like you can't see anything, it's totally black. And I'd say for a major intersection, at least have one light. And same thing with 279 and number 10. I had a request probably 10 years ago maybe, about a traffic light, and we just left it. But I mean, I brought that up 3 years ago again, at 279 and number 10.
That one I
Wait.
haven't done, so I can
Yeah.
do that too.
And like I drive a school bus there now. So for me, I know where the corner is, but if you're driving and it's totally black, you can't see that turn on. I mean, just for safety concerns, eh?
Would you be agreeable to letting us email them and ask for an update before we do the resolution? We'll
Okay.
bring that back next
Yeah,
meeting.
email them, give us an update, and then next meeting, if we don't hear anything from them, pass a resolution. But I mean, it should be done. That's one of the things I'd like to see done. You said requested. We have
Yes.
3 years to get it done, we got 1 year left.
Agreed. Okay.
Other than that, we're gonna have one more meeting before Christmas, so I wish you Merry Christmas then.
Very good. Councillor Blosha.
I just had a health foundation meeting and the Christmas banquet. That was all for me.
Councillor Kushniryk.
We had LED and I think fire was since our last meeting, wasn't it?
Was.
And then the highlight was the RISE meeting, which I'm sure will get discussed later.
You can tell us all about it.
Oh, I mean that it's gonna mostly tie into the in-camera part of,
What was it you said, 8 words in the entire meeting?
that's all I had nice to say, and that's all I was to say.
Sometimes it's better not to say things if you can't say anything nice. Councillor McGregor.
I have nothing to report, no committees or anything. I was at, of course, at the Christmas supper. It was great. It was nice to see everybody out.
Councillor Neely.
No committee meeting since our last meeting. Yeah, Christmas party was fun. Had a lot of laughs.
We were gonna play the Derek song tonight, but he doesn't really like it.
I'm wondering why he's still working for us.
He said at one point in the evening that he might file a complaint for harassment, and I said, I can understand that. Councillor Zbirun.
I had a grower update at the watershed on the 30th, so that's, other than that, good Christmas supper.
It was delicious.
Yeah, it was really good.
I'm waiting for my cat. Like there was supposed to be a cat in my package.
Oh, yes, you still want a cat, we'll get you one.
I need one.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Look at the fight.
Who ended up with the air fryer? Drew?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
He
We
had
saw
about,
Fred's wife the other night, and he teased her about it. It just about came to blows.
he had it about 4 times, didn't he?
They both, they had a good one.
So our last meeting was on the 18th of November, I believe. So since then, on the 19th of November, we did hold a planning district meeting. That's the first one in some time we've been able to find quorum for. As Councillor Burick alluded to, we were trying to pass first reading of the new development plan. It has been over a year at the time of that meeting, now a year and a month, since that development plan was ready for first reading, excepting for the municipality of Minnetonka's Bozeman, who refused on a continual basis to engage in the conversation. Said things like they just want different, but wouldn't say what different. So that came to that planning district meeting. Reeve attended on behalf of Mountain. He normally doesn't come, but he was here to bring their views of how it can take a year for Minnetonka's Bozeman to not get around to participating in the group and making the new document. We discussed at length with Minnetonka's Bozeman the agreement, and they, prior to the meeting, had indicated by text they were okay with the agreement. So we thought first reading was about to happen. And then the wheels came off, and the rep indicated that they had misunderstood what the document said and needed some time to think about it, more than the year they'd had. He also said that it would be useful if I attended one of their council meetings to explain it to them. And I broke down laughing and had to apologize. And when I finally stopped laughing, I said, do you realize I offered 8 times to come out, and 8 times you told me to F off? And you would not let me come to the meeting to explain it to you. And now you're sitting here asking for me to come. All right, I'll come. So the agreement was struck with the committee that by noon the next day, Minnetonka's Bozeman would pick the date and time that I could come and talk to their council, explain the document to them and get their blessings so we could just pass it and move on. Noon the next day came and went. At 12:30, I received a telephone call from a councillor in Minnetonka's Bozeman and another councillor indicating they'd spoken to their CAO and that they felt there was no information I could share with their council that would help them understand the agreement in a better way. It was a very busy time of year, and they really didn't need to see me or have my input on it. I sent out an email, as the board had requested, to all municipalities, saying that the board indicated if they broke their agreement of having that meeting, we would simply get together and outvote Minnetonka's Bozeman. The response from that email is that Minnetonka's Bozeman actually made a decision. And my understanding is they have provided updated maps to the consultant, which are being put into the development plan, and that shortly those maps will be ready, and they are now ready to vote in favor of the new development plan. No meeting date is set yet, but it's looking good. On the 20th of November, I attended a meeting with Prairie Mountain Health. That was the town office. It was their community stakeholder engagement meeting. They requested to meet with reps from municipalities. Originally, they had requested just the heads of municipalities, but 2 other folks that were council members ended up in the meeting, one from Swan River and one from Mountain. During the meeting, Trina Slate, the head of Prairie Mountain Health, told us in no uncertain terms, Prairie Mountain Health blames the media, and they stared at me, and the public of the Swan River Valley for demoralizing the staff at the health facility. She feels that between the media and the public's inappropriate concern about the facility, we have caused them to lose their morale and feel that they no longer wish to attend work, and several are threatening to quit. She told the municipalities that it is our job to stop the media from talking about the things that happen at the hospital, and to stop the media from talking about the stories, and to tell our residents that everything is fine and they should be happy with it. There was some pushback of that during the meeting, as you can imagine. Not everybody was particularly happy during the meeting. More were happy when it was over. They left, and so did we. The municipalities did not agree to tell our residents that everything is fine at the hospital. We suggested that perhaps the hospital should do some soul searching on what's going on over there. Later that night, I attended fire board. It was the first fire board where we had a fire call in the middle of it. So that was kind of entertaining to see all the firefighters come running in and stare at us for a bit and then go out with the trucks and do some work. So it was kind of neat to watch that process from the inside. We did not pass a budget yet. That's supposed to be happening here shortly, but we did review what's been happening with Fire Board so far. Things are pretty well in hand. Highlights from the meeting include that when we did the work up north with the province, they paid very well. They paid for our firefighters' wages, which is typical, but they also paid rent on the trucks and the equipment we used. So Fire Board picked up about $40,000 in income from using our trucks up north for those fires, protecting Flin Flon primarily. We did have some damage to the trucks from that. It's about a $2,000 bill for the damage. We did ask the province if they'd pay it. We're not really expecting they will, but we asked just in case we get it. Fire Board also gave direction to staff to commence a lawsuit against an individual that caused an accident without MPI coverage and without a license. Our policy is that for MPI vehicle claims like that, when it involves someone that is not otherwise covered by us, that we seek money. So we're going to do that. It will just be small claims for a few $1,000s, but we're going to go through the exercise of trying to recoup that. Moving into the weekend, November 22nd and 23rd, I attended a bit of a water plant because Sean was away, as you can imagine. He had that issue that you're aware of. That continued on into the Monday. I traveled to Winnipeg for the AMM meeting that week of the 24th through to the 28th. AMM was fairly good this year. We had a chance to see quite a few people. I had a chance to make a bit of a fool of myself. There was really good nachos and cheese. And I ate that for a while. And I didn't realize this had happened. And then when I stood and talked to ministers for an hour, and then afterwards realized what was on my shirt, it was undeniable. It was there the entire time. But if it makes you feel any better, the mayor Brandon was there, Mr. Fawcett. And he said, "Bill, I shake your hand." And he showed me his hands, but he says, "I can't, because I didn't have anything to wear, so I went and bought brand new jeans before I came, and I didn't wash them."
Blue.
So he's completely blue. So I wasn't the only one that proved we're from small towns. On the Thursday, Kristi and I were invited by CN Rail to attend their Winnipeg training facility. So we spent the afternoon there learning how they train railway staff, and specifically how they do safety. They wanted to show us the safety improvements they've made to the railway and their training over the years. They used to train for 2 weeks. They now train for 11 weeks before staff are allowed out on the rail. They come back and forth. They showed us the wall of fallen employees, the people that have died. There's 72 names on the wall of people who have died in the line of duty at CN, and they know the story of each one, and the reason for each one's death has been incorporated into the training. So they intend to have the same accident never happen again. We tried out simulators for walking on bridges and clipping ourselves in to make sure we didn't fall. Some of us were brave enough to drive a train, others stood and watched. I did not crash the train, and I stayed in the speed limit, so I was kind of proud of myself for that. But it was a very interesting facility, and nice to see the work CN's doing to make our community safer. At one time, they had an accident rate of almost 2.96, I believe, per 100,000, and I forget how it works, it's loaded miles, whatever. They've brought that down now company-wide to 2.03, and amongst new staff that have had the new training, the accident rate is at 1. So they've become a much safer company over the years, which is good because they operate here and we want to see everybody being safe. So that was the big thrust of the event, was to show us the safety improvements they've made. Into December, certainly there was some work done for Rise Planning District, a little bit of work for Chamber as well. We did attend the ditch issue. That was on Wednesday, December 3rd. That was with Mr. Tomsky from Manitoba. He came out. We are subject to mandatory orders. The reason for that is that the work was done on our property. Even though we did not authorize the work being done, and it was not our staff that did it, because it's on our property, we're guilty of illegal drainage. They were somewhat understanding we didn't do it, but they have issued mandatory orders to us. Those orders include that we must immediately conduct a survey of the ditch to find out what's been done, as well as what's been done to the field and the culverts there. That survey is underway. We must present a plan in early January for remediation. They suggest that we should be seeking compensation from the person that did the work, and that's likely appropriate. We'll discuss in camera the methods we could do that with. Given the work that's done there, some of that work, the ditch was dug a couple feet deeper in places. So you can stand in the bottom of the ditch now and reach out and touch the culvert without bending down. There were some culverts removed as well and left laying there. We have taken those out now so that they're not going to just wash away with the water. There's substantial concerns that there is a flooding liability to the residents at the end of that ditch. A lot of that water is going to move a lot quicker and in a different direction now. The resident themselves feels it will be okay. Certainly we hope they're right. The Manitoba government folks are not so sure it will be okay, which is why the survey is being expedited. We may have to do emergency work there before the spring runoff to do something to slow the water flow from that residence. If we get away without that, we will still have to do remediation work for the slope and depth of the ditch. No estimate at all on costs, but ballpark between $50,000 and $100,000 of repair work to be done for what happened to the ditch. If by chance the landowner is confident they dug that ditch in exactly the right spot at the right depth, and if that's true, all we have to change is the slope. It's hard to make that argument when the culvert's now a couple feet in the air, that they dug it to what was the approved depth, but we shall see what the survey shows and cross our fingers for the best. I did some interviews on the 4th of December. Kristi was with me for that. I believe Councillor Burick was here as well. Councillor Blosha couldn't make it that day. We'll be discussing the recommendations of those interviews. We were interviewing for that assistant position. We saw some amazing people. We had, I believe, 25 applicants for that job. When you think back a few years, Swan Valley West, not a lot of people wanted to come here, but to have 25 people say they'd like to join our team is pretty remarkable. We did not see a single person that day that wouldn't have been a good addition to the team. They were all really good applicants, which made it hard to make recommendations, as you'll hear later, but it was good to have those interviews. Some public works budgeting on the 5th of December with the lead hand looking through some of his lists. Some of that list has come forward tonight for you to see. And then into yesterday we had the RISE meeting. Councillor Kushniryk managed to go the entire meeting without speaking. It's remarkable. He did not speak until at the end I finally said, "You've said nothing, you have to speak." How to summarize RISE in a way that doesn't get the tape played 100,000 times. The committee is, well, here's the good news. The book is almost done. The opportunity guide, we have the folks working on that now, so that's coming together, hoping to be ready for final drafting by the middle of January, with printing at the end of January, and hopefully have the book out in early February to be ready for trade show season and some developers we wish to go see. Conversation turned to the idea of an economic development officer. Town of Swan River indicated they're considering leaving the RISE group, hiring their own economic development officer that would work only on projects in the town of Swan River. We discussed that for a while. They said they were possibly agreeable to hiring an economic development officer as the group that would work on the entire valley instead of just Swan River. To that end, the group agreed that we would have at the G4 meeting in January, which has changed the date, we have to remind you of that, someone come out and spend an hour telling all the councils why an economic development officer would be a good idea. And then that will go back to RISE for some discussion. There was some discussion on whether all the municipalities were going to pay the bill for RISE. Or the one municipality, who I shan't name, but you can likely guess, may refuse to pay the bill and leave RISE because they don't like writing a check. Their share would be about $10,000 for this year. Their Reeve indicated the bill should be sent and that they would pay it. So we'll wait and see how that turns out. We discussed the Bonito restaurant. I was giving them examples of what economic development could look like. We've added up the amount of free media time we got for that across the country, of people all over talking about us selling a restaurant for $1 and specifically talking about Bonito and why you'd go there. It comes close to $100,000 of free advertising that we got from Bonito by just simply talking about it and talking it up, which is exactly what you'd want to see an economic development officer do. There's probably not a lot of other things that happened in the meeting that were particularly happy sounding to mention. Discussion then turned to the administrative position. That was discussed in the RISE meeting a bit, then we adjourned the meeting, and then the four heads of council sat in the room for another half an hour discussing the idea of a committee administrator position, which we've talked to death here. I indicated to the group that Swan Valley West had posted the job, had conducted interviews, and was quite likely looking at hiring someone tonight, because we had spent almost 18 months now waiting for the other municipal partners to get on board and do something, and they'd failed to do so. At which point they began to say, well, we don't want you doing that. Why would you do that? Well, no, it should be a group. So I told them that we were likely to put the position in Benito, because it's a nice town, and there's no reason why you couldn't work in Benito and support committees throughout the valley. They became extremely opposed to that, saying they simply did not agree with someone working in Benito doing minutes for committees that served the whole valley, because it wasn't Swan River. Then we discussed again what the proposal has been for 18 months. And several parties in the room, other heads of councils, acted like they had never heard it before in their lives. And it was new to them, and started making notes. And said they couldn't understand why they wouldn't have agreed to it in the last 18 months. The town of Swan River is having a committee of the whole meeting tonight. The mayor said that they would discuss it at the committee of the whole meeting. You'll recall that twice Swan River has discussed it at the meeting before, voted on it, voted it down, and provided no reason for saying no, other than saying no. But he indicated that they would discuss it tonight and might have a change of heart. He wondered if we could hold off on hiring an administrative assistant that would serve the committees, because maybe they'd agree at some point. There was some indication from Minnetonka's Bozeman. They might again discuss the matter for the third or fourth time and come up with something other than no. Mountain indicated they were probably okay with doing it. So we'll have more discussion on that in camera. Certainly the recommendation that's going to be made is going to be that it's been 18 months and they couldn't do it. What do we think would change now, except wait another month to hear no again? But that's a council decision. But we'll have some discussion, some options in camera. That blissfully ended the RISE meeting and brings us to today, which was a beautiful day except for the snow. And that's my report. Questions? Anything else at all before we take a break? Hearing nothing, we will take a break for about 10 minutes or so. When we come back, we'll be going in camera to discuss the things we've already mentioned. We do have a bit of a public works thing. There's also a staff matter we're going to be discussing in camera tonight. It is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing for once. So that's yet to come. We'll be back in about 10 minutes' time. Coming back from break, 13.1, be it resolved that pursuant to section 1523 of the Municipal Act, Council should meet as a committee of the whole to close the meeting and continue discussions in camera regarding personnel matters, negotiations, preliminary discussions, unresolved legal matters, investigation, enforcement of an act or bylaw. Who would like to move the resolution? Councillor Neely, and I see Councillor Burick to second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried.
I'm on my way.
Coming out of the in-camera session, we do have a resolution arising from in-camera. Be it resolved that Brian Burick be appointed to the Benito Recreation Center Board. So there's someone to move the resolution. Councillor Zbirun? Councillor McGregor. Any discussion? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That is carried. Does anybody else have any other resolutions to bring tonight? Are there any notices of motion to present tonight? Hearing none, be it resolved this meeting shall now adjourn at 10:01 p.m. Be it further resolved the next meeting is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. Who is first to move it?
Me.
I think he was.
No, I beat it by
He
a
almost
quarter
took
of a second.
out his eyeball, but he's.
Good as five carried.
I caught you when you
Those
were
in
looking
favor?
away, Carrie.
I gotta let him win once in a while.
Those in favor?
In favor?
That is carried.